Harlequin Special Releases and HarperAudio present The Westmoreland Legacy Books 1 through 3 by Brenda Jackson, featuring The Rancher Returns, performed by Sean Crisden, and His Secret Son, performed by Peter Ohms, and An Honorable Seduction, performed by James Cavenaugh. The Rancher Returns.
Prologue. "Hey, Viper, your cell phone was going off upstairs." Gavin Blake, known to his SEAL teammates as Viper, nodded as he set his coffee mug on a side table in the barracks common area. Standing, he stretched the kinks out of his body and felt his aches all the way to the bone. Their last covert operation had been risky as hell, but they'd succeeded in destroying yet another ISIS stronghold. In 2 days, they would officially be off duty, and most of his teammates would be heading for home. However, he had other plans. Getting laid was at the top of his agenda. It had been too long since he'd shared a woman's bed, and he'd already made plans with a beautiful bartender he'd met in Mississippi, while helping his teammate Bain out of a fairly dangerous situation several months ago. Gavin raced up the stairs toward his berthing unit and retrieved his cell phone from the gear in his bunk. He'd missed a call from Sherman Lott, the man who'd lived on the neighboring ranch for years. Panic floated through Gavin's belly. Had something happened to his grandmother? Since his grandmother lived alone when he was away, Gavin had given their closest neighbors his contact information in case of emergencies. Of course, the foreman was there running the ranch in Gavin's absence. Surely, if something was going on with his grandmother, Caldwell would have contacted Gavin. But what if this was one of those times when Caldwell had gone to St. Louis to meet with one of their beef distributors? Gavin quickly pressed the redial button, and Mr. Lott picked up on the second ring. "Hello?" "Mr. Lott, this is Gavin. Has something happened to Grandma Mel?" "No, Gavin, your grandmother is fine physically. Not sure what's happening to her mind, though." Gavin frowned, wondering what the man meant. Although she was nearing her 75th birthday, Gavin had never known a day in all his 32 years when Melody Blake hadn't been sharp as a tack. He'd spoken with his grandmother 2 weeks ago, and she had sounded just fine to him. "What makes you think something is wrong with her mind?" "She's allowed some fast-talking college professor to convince her that the outlaw Jesse James buried some of his loot on the Silver Spurs, and they plan to start digging up parts of her land next week." Gavin refrained from correcting the man. The land was their property, since Gavin legally owned all 800 acres jointly with his grandmother. Instead, he concentrated on what Lott had said. His grandmother had given someone permission to dig on the Silver Spurs? "There must be some mistake, Mr. Lott. You know my grandmother as well as I do. There's no way she would allow some man to—" "It's a woman, a professor by the name of Dr. Harris." Gavin drew in a deep breath. Who the hell was Dr. Harris, and how had she talked his grandmother into agreeing to dig on Blake land? Rubbing a hand down his face, Gavin knew he would be flying home and not making that pit stop in Mississippi after all. Damn. "Gavin?" "Yes, Mr. Lott, I'm here." "I hated to call you knowing you're probably somewhere doing important work for our country, but I felt you needed to know what's going on." "And I appreciate you doing so. Don't worry about a thing. I'll be home in a couple of days." Gavin hung up the phone and cursed in anger. He then placed a call to his ranch foreman, Caldwell Andrews. The phone was answered on the third ring. "Caldwell, what's going on at the Silver Spurs? Sherman Lott just called, and he thinks Grandma Melody has gone loco. He said something about her allowing some professor to dig on the ranch?" He heard Caldwell curse under his breath before saying, "I wish Lott hadn't called you, Gavin. Your grandmother is fine. She likes the professor. They talked, and according to Ms. Mel, she read the professor's report, and it's legit." Viper rolled his eyes. "Caldwell, you know as well as I do that there's no buried treasure on the Silver Spurs. If you recall, when I was in my teens, Dad allowed this outfit to come in and dig up parts of the land when they convinced him there was oil somewhere on it. Not a drop of oil was found." "I remember, but I guess Miss Mel figured a little digging wouldn't hurt anything since it's a small area, away from the main house and far away from where the cows are kept. It's the South Pasture." "The South Pasture?" "Yes, nobody—"
Sample complete. Ready to continue?